Over the course of my life, I've played many games, but not until recently did I get captivated by a game to spend over 1,000 hours playing it, and that game was Palworld. This game is also the first game that I've submitted to speedrun.com a speedrun on, but it's not the only game I've played in the last year and a half. You see, outside of streaming and enjoying the game of Palworld, I've also kept up with a few other games, but recently I started playing No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is a game that I have to admit, still needs a lot of love to it. I even thought about dropping the game after about 2 or 3 hours of gameplay, even though I love the space genre. You see, I've spent thousands of hours in the universe of EVE Online. I've watched so many Star Treks, and I just absolutely adore Stargate SG-1. But this game, for whatever reason, was a little bit different than what I expected. And somehow, I became one of the fastest men in space. Right from the beginning, the game really frustrated me, as I died almost immediately after spawning in, and then I died a second time, and finally after that, I made it my only mission to look for sodium on my planet, meaning I was doing almost nothing else in the game, and I found my first gripe with the game. You see, I had finished the first mission putting ferrite into my mining tool so that I could continue on the questline and storyline and read and see what I needed to do next. Little did I know that as soon as I did this, my thermal protection would just get absolutely obliterated. At this point you might say, well, you did choose the survival setting, and at that I say to you, fair play. Fair play, I thought I could do it, and I was too hard-headed to not do it, so we went the find sodium as much as possible route. If I had one thing to say to Hello Games, it would be to not get rid of your thermal protection that early on, and let it play out at least a little bit further for the people that end up picking survival first and then find themselves doing the questline as you're supposed to. The thing that kept me going though is I wanted to get in that spaceship, and I think that's what most people wanted, and that's what got me through the first couple hours, is just the absolute desire to get into space and see what spaceship flight was like in this game. Now that's not to say I wasn't enjoying the game, just that I was kind of pushing myself through, and later I would find that I actually do enjoy the resource gathering portion of this game. It just needed to be explained to me a little bit better. My first couple of bouts in my fighter felt amazing. I absolutely loved it. I've played my Ace Combat games, really enjoyed being in them and being able to have so many degrees of freedom available to me. Then I realized that every time I was slowing down to try to turn, it was just auto-locking, and I absolutely hated that. I still hate it. I don't think that should be a thing in the game at all. Maybe an option to turn on if you really want it, but why is it on by default? Let somebody fly and learn how to fly. So that option definitely got turned off as soon as I figured out how to turn it off. To add to my gripes with space combat, why can you constantly recharge your shield to full? Like, as if you have the resources for it, you're like immortal. You're never gonna die. I mean, you can eventually get there anyway, but even from the earliest stages of early game, you can take on some insane combat, like an entire Sentinel carrier. It's not hard. You just recharge your shields as you need to, keep blasting away. It's super easy. Kind of frustrating, to be honest with you. That's not to say that's what this game is supposed to be about, though. But for me, it was not scratching the right itch. It was way too easy. The resource gathering aspect was a little bit interesting, but it wasn't interesting enough. And worst of all, since I was on survival, I had some things that I assumed that were just wrong. You see, when you start out in survival mode, you can put down your refiner, and that portable refiner can hold up to 250 of a resource being made. And I really was wanting to work my way towards a medium refiner because I was excited to be able to hold 500, as that's what I thought. I wasn't looking anything up. I was just hoping once I put that medium refiner down, I could put 500 in, and then we'd be good to go. And then when we got to the large, it'd be 1,000, and it'd be actually pretty good. It'd be very nice to have that many resources, and it wouldn't be too tedious. Little did I know that just opened up more slots for you to make and not actually give you the ability to craft more at any given time. It's not hard to do, it's just super tedious. I don't like this, I don't like it at all. And that's not the only thing I don't like. It's so frustrating. This game has so many good points, and I just want to bring up the negatives that I have about it, because if they were gone, this game could be one of my favorite games I've ever played. It has some gorgeous scenery, it's got some really fun movement, it's really interesting overall to explore and see new things and how everything works together. But why is inventory management such a pain in the butt? I come from Palworld. Palworld lets you put everything into a chest with the click of a single button. It has something to look up and find items. It gives you the ability to craft anything inside your base radius as long as it's in an inventory slot. But no, I have to go find that piece of inventory that I want, get it out of inventory so it's on my person, and then I can craft what I want. It's tedious, it's frustrating, and it's not fun. To continue this, why do I have to hold down E for every interaction that I come across? Do I want to talk to this person? Yes, I'm pressing the button. Why do I have to hold it down? Maybe some people like these things, maybe they're features, but for me, I want to turn that off. Just give me the simple click, the simple button press, and let me be on my way. It's slow, it's tedious, and I don't like it. Now I'll admit, there's still some small things that bug me about this game that I'm not going to go over, but I do want to talk about what happened next. As I felt hopelessly addicted to this game that I'm complaining about, I started watching videos and seeing things that people are doing and setting up and making about the game, and I saw somebody make a video about reaching the Galaxy Center on permadeath. And that's when the idea kind of sparked into my brain that it's probably not hard to reach Galaxy Center on permadeath. I can do that. I've not hit the Galaxy Center yet. Why don't I do that myself? Little did I know that I would start to fall hopelessly addicted with a brand new speedrun. I first set myself up to permadeath and then started my playthrough. But I might have made a small problem, but we'll talk about that in a minute. I hadn't completed the Artemis playthrough in my first 50 hours of gameplay, so I figured I can probably get there by 100 hours pretty easily. So that's what I started to do, is work on this permadeath playthrough on the Artemis path to get all the way to the Galaxy Center. There were no crazy strategies, no weird implementations, no glitches, no anything, just me playing the game standard, easily, and going after a Sentinel ship about as fast as I could. I knew the Sentinel ship had a really strong hyperdrive capability, as well as being able to have a lot of fuel for the hyperdrive by just farming a few of those crystals. So that's what I did, is I farmed away, got myself a Sentinel ship, and was ready to just kind of barrel my way through the Artemis storyline. I want this to be perfectly obvious. I have no idea what I'm doing, what the speedrun strategies are. I just wanted to reach the Galaxy Center as fast as I possibly could with the knowledge I had while not dying a single time. Having played a little over 80 hours by this point, I by no means was an expert, nor was I an absolute novice, but there's still tons of things I didn't know and still don't know about the game to this day. Continuing on with the run though, this brings me to my last least favorite thing about this game. Why does it love to change my missions from the one that I currently have selected? Can you not just take the one that I want, stay there and not switch it every time I find something and scan it? It's one of the reasons I thought the story was terrible at the time. It's because I constantly kept getting interrupted by other things instead of continuing on one storyline at any given time. I actually ended up enjoying the story way more than I thought I would, but only because that was the sole thing I focused on instead of getting constantly pulled into side quests or other main storyline quests. Again, I have to iterate, I was enjoying myself while I was trying to do this quickly. I was enjoying the story, I was enjoying the little bit of combat that I had to do, easy as it was, and it was actually quite exciting to see if I could do this in maybe under 10 hours. That was my goal. I didn't know if it was a feasible goal, but I was like, that's about 2 days worth of stuff, and I didn't want to have my computer on for more than that. 5 hours each day over the course of a weekend, and see if I couldn't do it in one weekend. You know, it was exciting, it was fun, I was enjoying it, and it was great. About 6.5 hours into the run, I got to the point where I had been when I was on my initial playthrough on the survival setting. So I finally started to take the time to read the dialogue after I do this particular section of the quest. This again means I was not speedrunning in proper, but just really enjoying my time playing through the game, trying to play it quickly, but not as fast as possible. And for this first playthrough of the Artemis Path all the way through, there's really not too much else to say. We just kept going, reading the dialogue and enjoying the story as we went, since we basically already had everything we needed. And again, the game is just not hard. It's beautiful, it's exciting and amazing, but not hard. I normally wouldn't iterate this, but it's only because I had one life. I had one life, and people make it out to be something crazy because only 1% or so of people have gotten this achievement. So, I mean, I felt like I was pretty special doing it within 100 hours, but at the same time, I don't think it's anything too crazy or too challenging to do. It was a great experience is all I want to chalk it up and say. I enjoyed it and was able to get to the Galaxy Center. And just realized I didn't show my profile, so here we are, No Man's Sky. Take a deep breath is the last one, maybe? 89 on record. We definitely got to the center. Reached the center of the galaxy in survival mode. How is this not... Isn't it... permadeath? What? Did I not set this as permadeath? Oh my gosh, are you serious? When I hit play, I hit new game and then I did survival, didn't I? That's not permadeath. Oh my gosh, how do you set it to permadeath? So just like Apollo 13, this was a successful failure. I had intended to do both the permadeath and Galaxy Center at the same time, but because of this, we started the speedrun. There were some incredibly fast times posted on speedrun.com that I could not hope to compete with. So first things first, I needed to get to practice. Practice starts by looking at the best, so we started by looking at Hell FAF Speedrun, analyzing everything they did and trying to figure out exactly what he was doing. I didn't even know about the Traveler allowing you to get a grave, which would give you a glyph so that you could take a monolith and go straight to the Galaxy Center. So that was something I learned, you know? We learned tons of things in our initial scouting of what we needed to do for this particular speedrun. So after the initial scout, it was our turn to try it ourselves, see how fast we could get to the Galaxy Center using this Traveler strategy. So after about 2 hours and 9 minutes, we made it to the Galactic Center on permadeath and finally earning our achievement. Unfortunately for me, this was only good enough for 4th place, and if there's one thing about me you should know, I'm very competitive. After having watched the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place runs, as well as doing a little bit of practice on my own, we were able to lower our time drastically, all the way down to 1:16:16. Kind of perfect for the game, actually. Since that wasn't good enough for 3rd place or better, we kept going until we got a 1 hour, 5 minute, and 21 second run, which was good enough for 3rd. But now I knew I was good enough to potentially get 2nd, so we had to keep going. And now I think it's time to maybe clue you in on how these runs work. Speedrun.com typically has multiple sets of categories for you to speedrun, including ones where you can break the game as much as possible and one where you try to not use any breaks, or glitches as we call them. The category does allow for the melee rocket boosting that you see on the screen, where you're able to traverse just a little bit faster, which is just super convenient, and I'm really glad they don't call that a glitch. It's just a feature. The run itself is very simple. As soon as you reach the Galactic Center and lock in the star, you have completed your speedrun, as you have gone from the start of the game to the very, very end of the game. But how do we get there? It's here that I kind of modified the start of the strategy that other runners have been going for. See, when you very first start the game and I was dying, it gives you actual protection against the elements until you add ferrite dust to your multi-tool. So the strategy became gather as many resources as you could at the very beginning of the game before adding ferrite dust to your multi-tool. Not adding the ferrite dust made it hard to get to your ship because you wouldn't know where it was, but you could, however, create your analysis visor, which would allow you to locate your ship as well as scan the plants for additional resources while you were harvesting them. I also took up the mantle of locating and finding salvage modules underground well before I had the multi-tool ability to dig. But sometimes you wouldn't be able to get it, sometimes you could. It wasn't that big of a deal, but usually there was damaged machinery nearby, which means you could potentially get more salvage parts, which means more ferrite. After approximately 11 minutes of farming the resources while under protection, this is when you finally start to go through the quest, add the ferrite to your multi-tool, and start repairing your ship so you can get the hermetic seal. During this time, the portal roll refiners are going as much as possible to get our pure ferrite as well as much more ferrite as we can get from the salvaged metal. We then race the storm over to the hermetic seal, make our way back to the ship, and get ourselves up into the sky, continuing the missions and getting ourselves over to the space station. Upon arriving at the space station, you sell whatever meat you've acquired from killing creatures or things that you've picked up, as well as potentially some salvage data if you go for that strategy. I made sure to keep 2 in this particular run, as you're going to need 3 later on. Use that money to buy chromatic metal as much as you can, as well as 20 magnetized ferrite or 40 pure ferrite so that you can make your research computer later. But not every station has that, so you're going to have to shop around from the ships that land when you're at the station. You will also need to make sure you buy some metal, some carbon fiber if you can, some dihydrogen if you can, some copper maybe if you can. There's so much that you could get, as well as tritium to make sure you have enough fuel for your pulse drive. And with all these purchases, you probably cannot afford your 5 microprocessors that you're going to need in a very small amount of time for your hyperdrive blueprint. Continue on the storyline until you can make your terrain manipulator. Go around, grab as many salvage parts as you can so that you can use them and sell them later. Build your base computer and everything that you need to build to continue the quest line. You're going to want to go back to the space station anyway, but you do need to make the biofuel reactor as well as the teleporter, so you need to do that to continue the quest line. Make it, continue the quest line, and get back to the space station. The computer takes a really long time to load, so I set up the portable refiners during this time so that I can make sure we're getting as many resources as we need. Buy your 5 microprocessors for approximately 130,000 units. Get your hyperdrive, go over to get your larval cores, get a bunch of nanites from them, use those nanites to buy yourself some hyperdrive modules, grab your free warp cell from the fuel source finished quest, and then try to find yourself a traveler. I mean, if you've already got all of what you needed. If you don't, you need to go farm some more. At this point, you're only praying to find a traveler. Once you do, you have to talk to them twice, and on the second time you talk to them, you choose option 2, where you pay them 100 nanites, and they will give you a location to go find. Every station up to this point should have been collecting any data sources you could, so you could trade them in for alien cartographic data from the cartographer. Make your way over to the alien grave, hope the alien cartographics give you a monolith. Make sure you answer correctly for the monolith so that it gives you a second option. Pray the monolith gave you the Korvax casing or the Gek tribute so that you can get to the portal. Activate the portal with all the resources that you've collected. If you don't have enough copper or carbon, you can disassemble your rocket launcher. Go through the Stargate and start hopping your way down towards the center of the galaxy. Pretty easy, right? Nothing too crazy, right? I wouldn't do this multiple times a day to try to get first place, right? World record is 59:24 by Hell FAF. We can do it, right? Oh no. Oh no. But hey, you know what? Second place by 6 seconds? That's not bad, right? This is what I had to say about it at the time. What an ending! I didn't think I had nearly enough. And I ended up with a ton. I had 3 left over? Are you joking? Wow. How did that happen? Oh my gosh, a sub hour. Yeah, sub-hour. Wait, what was record? No, seriously, what was record? 6 seconds is 59:24. Oh my god. You're telling me I was just a little too slow to snipe record? And maybe if I was normal, it would have ended here. But no, one day later, I got on this run. Oh my gosh! Record was 59. Oh my gosh! So there it was. This little game that I am so frustrated with, but still love so much, has one thing where I can claim to be the best at least for now, as I am currently the fastest person to reach the galaxy center without using any glitches. I really hope you've enjoyed, and I wanted to say at least a few things that I really love about this game. The game looks and feels amazing. It really is something to behold flying through space. But none of that pales in comparison to this wonderful soundtrack that just immerses you into the world that they've created. Would I recommend you to play this game? I think that answer is yes. Yes, I would. Wholeheartedly yes. As many frustrating things there are in it, you can get a good 50 to 100 hours pretty easily without getting bored. And I would like to invite you, player that's played for thousands of hours, how fast can you get to the galaxy center? Do you think you can do it faster than what I just did? I'd like to see you try, and I really do mean that. Maybe we can be competitors someday. Until then though, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day, or night, or whatever it is.